The research vessel Odyssey had been cutting through the black void for months, with its destination, the planet Eridani 4, now looming large in the viewport. Jack Sanders, an astrobiologist, watched the violet-hued planet rotate slowly, its surface a mystery beneath swirling clouds. The excitement on the bridge was palpable as the crew prepared for contact with a new world, their mission one of peace and scientific discovery. As they approached orbital insertion, a sudden alarm blared through the ship. Before anyone could react, the space around the Odyssey filled with alien ships, their design sleek and utterly foreign. The crew tensed, expecting conflict, but instead, they received a communication filled with harmonious tones and an invitation to dock at the Eridani space station. Jack was particularly struck by the appearance of the Eridani, tall, with skin that shimmered like starlight and eyes glowing with an ethereal light. They guided the humans with a quiet grace, speaking in soft, musical voices. The Eridani expressed a particular interest in Jack, their eyes often lingering on him with an intensity that made him uneasy. Upon docking, Jack was escorted by a delegation of Eridani to the planet's surface. The journey through the atmosphere revealed sprawling landscapes of crystalline structures and vast seas that sparkled under the planet's twin suns. They landed near a towering spire that appeared to be both a natural formation and intricately sculpted. The High Priestess, named Arya, awaited him at the base of the spire. She was regal, her aura unmistakably powerful, and her gaze piercing as she regarded Jack. With a voice that resonated deep within him, she explained that Jack had been chosen through a cosmic alignment for a pivotal role in a sacred ritual known as the Covenant of Continuance. This ritual, she revealed, was essential not only for the survival of her people, but could potentially benefit all of humanity. Jack learned that his selection was linked to an artifact his team had uncovered on Mars, a relic of unknown origin that pulsed with a soft light the moment Eridani 4 came into view from their ship. Arya explained that the artifact was a beacon, calling its counterpart on Eridani, which had remained dormant until now. As night fell on Eridani 4, Jack was led to a vast, open-air auditorium built around the central spire. The air was filled with the scent of exotic flowers, and the sky above was a tapestry of swirling nebulas and bright stars, visible due to the planet's thin atmosphere. Arya took her place at the forefront, and as she raised her arms, the crowd that filled the auditorium fell silent. She spoke of the history of her people, of their deep connection to the cosmos, and their search for allies among the stars to preserve the diversity of life and thought. Jack, standing beside her, felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility, as if the weight of his own world and perhaps others rested on his willingness to bridge the gap between human and alien. As the ceremony commenced, Jack's mind raced with questions and uncertainties about what his role would entail. But looking out over the assembly of Eridani, their faces alight with hope, he felt a resolve solidifying within him. Whatever was to come, he knew this moment marked the beginning of something monumental, not just for him, but for all of humanity. The night air hummed with the promise of revelations and the dawn of new alliances as Jack prepared to step into the unknown. In the heart of Eridani's majestic crystal city, the High Priestess Arya led Jack through winding, luminescent corridors to a vast chamber beneath the central spire. Here, she revealed the nature of the Covenant of Continuance, an ancient ritual born from the Eridani's profound understanding of genetic and cosmic forces. The chamber, aglow with a soft, pulsating light, was filled with artifacts and murals depicting the Eridani's history and their deep-rooted connections with various species across the galaxy. Arya explained that the Eridani civilization thrived through a symbiotic relationship with the universe, gaining insights and strength from each species that joined their covenant. The ritual was a sacred exchange, ensuring both the continuation of the Eridani lineage and the enrichment of their partner's genetic pool. For the first time, this covenant was to include a human, marking a significant milestone in their interstellar outreach. Jack, still grappling with the gravity of his role, listened intently as Arya detailed the trials he would face. These trials were designed to test his worthiness, not through brute strength, but through intelligence, adaptability, and the capacity to empathize with alien perspectives. Each trial would be overseen by the Eridani's most revered champions, skilled in various forms of non-lethal combat that emphasize skill over force. The first trial was set in the Arena of Minds, a Colosseum-like structure where physical and mental agility were equally tested. Jack's opponent was a creature known as a Valen, renowned for its speed and reflexive instincts. The Valen was a blur of motion, its form shimmering with a spectral quality that made it difficult to track with the naked eye. As the trial commenced, Jack felt a surge of adrenaline. He had to rely on his training back on Earth, where he learned various combat techniques and survival strategies. The arena was equipped with obstacles and elements that could be manipulated to create advantages or disadvantages, depending on one's quick thinking and understanding of the environment. Using a combination of holographic distractions and his own calculated movements, Jack managed to outmaneuver the Valen, securing a win that earned a respectful nod from the creature and a murmur of surprise and admiration from the Eridani spectators. Arya, watching from her elevated position, smiled subtly, her eyes reflecting a galaxy of stars. Pleased with Jack's performance, but aware of the challenges yet to come. The next trial was even more daunting, involving an Eridani known as a Mind Weaver. This being possessed the ability to delve into an opponent's thoughts, bringing forth fears and doubts to the forefront of their mind. The battleground was less physical and more cerebral, set in a chamber where the walls pulsed with psychic energy. As Jack entered the chamber, he felt an immediate invasion of his thoughts. Childhood fears, doubts about his capability as a crew member of the Odyssey, and anxieties about his future unfolded before him like a vivid nightmare. However, armed with mental resilience and techniques learned during his psychological training for space travel, Jack confronted each illusion with a clarity that gradually weakened the Mind Weaver's influence. Emerging victorious but mentally exhausted from the second trial, Jack was met by Arya and her attendants, who escorted him to a recovery chamber. Here, he was treated to Eridani healing practices, involving light and sound therapies that rejuvenated his body and soothed his mind. As he rested, Arya spoke to him of the final trial that awaited, one that would test his empathy and his ability to connect on a profound, almost spiritual level with another being. This, she hinted, was the true heart of the covenant of continuance, the formation of a bond that transcended physical realms, a fusion of thoughts and spirits that was as old as the cosmos. Jack, now more determined than ever, prepared himself for what was to come, understanding that the path he walked was not just for his own growth, but for the potential unity and advancement of two species. As the stars wheeled overhead, the night whispered of impending convergences, promising that the journey ahead would reshape worlds. After his recovery, Jack found himself standing once more beneath the vast, starlit sky of Eridani IV, facing the arena of elements, where his next challenge awaited. The Eridani champions, each a master of their unique discipline, were not merely opponents but teachers, each trial crafted to expand the understanding and capabilities of the chosen participant. The third trial was unlike the previous ones. It was designed to test Jack's endurance and adaptability to extreme environmental conditions. The Arena of Elements was a dynamic battlefield, capable of simulating various planetary environments, from scorching deserts to freezing tundras, all within its crystalline walls. As the trial commenced, the arena shifted into a desert landscape, with rolling dunes and intense heat beating down from above. Jack's opponent was a Seraphine, a creature adapted to high temperatures, its skin reflective like a mirror, dispersing the heat. Jack, though hampered by the heat, used his knowledge of survival tactics to maintain hydration and keep his body temperature regulated with specially designed gear from his suit. The battle was a test of persistence and strategy. Jack dug partially covered trenches in the soft sand to manage his exposure to the sun and used mirages created by the heat as deceptive tools to mislead his opponent. His understanding of environmental physics allowed him to eventually outlast the Seraphine, who conceded respect to Jack's clever use of the terrain. With the desert fading away, the arena morphed into a frost-covered landscape. Bitter cold swept across the field, and ice crunched underfoot. Jack's next opponent was a Crionid, a being seemingly carved from ice itself. Thriving in the cold, its movements swift and precise on the slippery surface. Jack's breath turned to mist as the temperature plunged, and he fought to keep his muscles from stiffening. He adapted his tactics, using his suit's thermal regulators to their maximum efficiency and repurposing his climbing gear to gain better traction on the ice. The battle was grueling, pushing him to the limits of his physical endurance. However, Jack managed to use a combination of patience and terrain manipulation, causing a section of the ice to crack and separate the Crionid from him long enough to be declared the winner. As the ice melted away, the arena returned to its neutral state, and Jack was once again brought before High Priestess Arya. She praised his resilience and adaptability, qualities that were highly esteemed among her people. Now, Arya explained, came the final trial, a test of empathy and psychological depth. Jack was led to the Chamber of Echoes, a sacred place where Eridani elders had historically forged deep connections with their allies and even their adversaries. The chamber was a quiet, circular room with walls that seemed to pulse gently with a soft light. Inside, Jack faced not a physical opponent, but an emotional and psychological one, an echoist, an Eridani capable of manifesting physical representations of emotions and memories. As the trial began, Jack found himself confronted with physical manifestations of his own fears, desires, and dreams. Each form was a puzzle, revealing deeper truths about his own nature and challenging him to confront and reconcile aspects of his identity he had long ignored or suppressed. This trial was the most intense for Jack, as it required him to engage deeply with his own psyche, to understand and accept the darker parts of himself alongside the light. With each acceptance, the manifestations dissolved into motes of light, absorbed into the chamber's walls, leaving Jack feeling lighter, more whole than he had ever felt. When he emerged from the Chamber of Echoes, he was met by Arya and her entourage, who now regarded him with a new level of respect and camaraderie. Jack had proven himself not only as a warrior and a survivor, but as a being capable of deep introspection and growth. Arya then led Jack to the Sanctum of Unity, where the final stages of the Covenant of Continuance would take place. Here, Jack was to truly unite with the Eridani, not through battle or survival, but through a shared vision of the future, promising a new dawn for both their peoples. The Sanctum of Unity was a marvel of Eridani architecture, nestled at the heart of their crystalline city. Its structure was both ancient and alive, pulsing with a vibrant energy that seemed to resonate with the very pulse of the planet. Here, under the luminous canopy of Eridani Ivy's twin suns, the final and most profound part of the Covenant of Continuance was to take place. High Priestess Arya led Jack through the Sanctum's grand archways, each step echoing softly on the smooth, iridescent floor. The walls were lined with intricate carvings that told the history of the Eridani and their celestial interactions. Jack was awestruck by the beauty and the solemnity of the environment, feeling the weight of the moment, the culmination of all his trials and a new beginning for both his people and the Eridani. Arya explained that the bonding process was a sacred union of minds, made possible by the advanced technology of the Eridani. This technology, when activated, would allow Jack and Arya to share thoughts, memories, and emotions, facilitating a deep understanding and empathy unparalleled by any other form of communication. As they approached the center of the sanctum, they came upon a platform adorned with a complex array of symbols and devices. Arya invited Jack to stand beside her as attendants draped ceremonial robes over their shoulders, signifying their readiness to enter into the bonding. The ritual began with a chant from the surrounding Eridani, their voices harmonizing in a melody that seemed to stir the air itself. The devices around the platform hummed to life, emitting a soft, glowing light that enveloped Jack and Arya. Jack felt a tingling sensation, like a gentle electric current, running through his body as the Eridani technology initiated the mind link. The first rush of shared consciousness was overwhelming. Jack's vision blurred, then cleared spectacularly, revealing not only his own thoughts but glimpses of Arya's memories. Vivid images of her childhood on Eridani IV, her ascension as High Priestess, and the deep loneliness of carrying the weight of her people's future. Simultaneously, Arya experienced Jack's life on Earth, his early fascination with the stars, the loss of his parents, and his determination to make a meaningful impact in the universe. As the exchange deepened, Jack and Arya navigated through each other's fears and hopes. Jack felt Arya's apprehension about the survival of her culture and the immense responsibility of her role. Arya felt Jack's struggles with self-doubt and his profound commitment to his crew and mission. The bonding, intense and intimate, lasted for what seemed like hours, though only minutes had passed in the physical world. When the device finally powered down, the light receding like a fading star, Jack and Arya stepped back, physically separate once again but connected on a level that transcended mere physical presence. They looked at each other with new eyes, not as representatives of their respective species, but as individuals who had shared a profound journey into each other's souls. The ritual had not only fulfilled its purpose of integrating human and Eridani essences, but had also created a bond of understanding, respect, and mutual support. In the quiet aftermath, Arya spoke of the future, of potential collaborations between humans and Eridani in technology, culture, and interstellar exploration. She envisioned a partnership that could lead to a greater harmony in the galaxy, with the covenant of continuance as a testament to what could be achieved when different worlds embrace their commonalities and differences with open hearts and minds. Jack, inspired and humbled, agreed to carry their shared experience back to Earth, to advocate for a new era of cooperation and peace. As they left the sanctum of unity, the Eridani celebrated, their voices ringing out across the city, a chorus of hope for the future. In the days following the bonding ritual, Jack felt an enduring clarity and connection not just to Arya and the Eridani, but to his crew and the mission they had embarked upon. The Odyssey crew were invited to partake in various cultural exchanges, educational sessions, and collaborative projects, deepening the ties between humans and Eridani. As Jack walked through the bustling streets of the Eridani capital, he noticed the changes in how the Eridani citizens interacted with him and his crew. Where there had once been polite distance, there was now genuine curiosity and warmth. The Odyssey's crew, in turn, were eager to share their own stories and learn about Eridani technologies and arts. Jack spent significant time with Arya, planning the establishment of an embassy on Eridani IV. This new diplomatic venture would serve as a hub for interstellar relations and a beacon of the newfound alliance. Architectural plans were drawn, blending human and Eridani aesthetics, a symbol of their combined cultures and cooperative future. Meanwhile, the scientists of the Odyssey collaborated with Eridani researchers to study the planet's unique flora and fauna, unlocking secrets that could lead to advancements in medicine and ecology for both peoples. Jack was particularly involved in these sessions, his background in astrobiology giving him insight into the potential applications of Eridani botanicals. However, this period of hopeful preparation was punctuated by an unexpected challenge. The Odyssey's long-range sensors, left monitoring the outer reaches of the Eridani system, detected unknown signals approaching. The data was inconclusive, but the pattern suggested a sizable fleet moving at high velocity toward the planet. Jack and Arya convened an emergency meeting with both their leadership teams to discuss the potential threat. Initial anxiety gave way to strategic planning as they considered their options. The Eridani, with their advanced technology but generally peaceful stance, were not prepared for a large-scale conflict. Jack, with access to Earth's military databases, offered insights into defensive tactics and potential diplomatic approaches. The unknown fleet's approach was slow enough to allow for preparations, Jack suggested, and Arya agreed that they should send a combined human-Eridani delegation to meet the incoming ships, hoping to engage diplomatically before any potential hostilities could erupt. As the designated day arrived, Jack found himself aboard one of the Eridani's fastest vessels, accompanied by Arya and a mixed crew of human and Eridani diplomats and soldiers. They traveled to the edge of the system, where the unknown fleet was predicted to arrive. When the ships finally emerged from the dark of space, they were unlike any Jack or the Eridani had seen before. They were sleek, dark, and massive, bristling with what clearly appeared to be advanced weaponry. The tension aboard the Eridani vessel was palpable as they initiated contact. To everyone's relief, the response was not immediate aggression, but cautious communication. The newcomers identified themselves as the Zeltrans, a nomadic civilization searching for new resources and potential allies. Their approach had been defensive, not knowing the capabilities or intentions of the Eridani and their new human friends. Negotiations ensued, with Jack and Arya at the forefront, leveraging their recent bonding experience to navigate the complex interstellar diplomacy. Talks were tense but ultimately fruitful, resulting in an agreement to explore peaceful cooperation. The Zeltrans, intrigued by the success of the Human-Eridani alliance, agreed to a provisional pact, pending further discussions. As the Zeltran fleet withdrew to a respectful distance, Jack looked back toward Eridani 4, its vibrant blue and violet hues shining brightly against the backdrop of space. The challenges they faced had only just begun, but with each new encounter, the foundation of their alliance grew stronger, promising a future where unity might one day span across the stars. Following the tentative agreement with the Zeltrans, Jack and the diplomatic corps returned to Eridani 4, their spirits lifted by the potential of avoiding conflict and forging another alliance. The news of their diplomatic success spread quickly among the Eridani and the human crew, instilling a renewed sense of purpose and optimism. As the Eridani and humans continued to strengthen their bonds, the embassy construction progressed, symbolizing the solidifying relationship between the two species. Architectural elements from both cultures merged into a structure that stood as a testament to their cooperation. It was not only a diplomatic hub, but also a cultural exchange center where Eridani and humans could share knowledge, art, and even cuisine. Jack spent his days in various roles, from overseeing the integration of human technology with Eridani systems to participating in joint training sessions between the two species' defense forces. Arya, ever present, worked tirelessly to ensure that the alliance's foundations were strong, addressing any cultural misunderstandings and fostering a community built on mutual respect and shared goals. One evening, as the twin suns of Eridani 4 set in a spectacular display of purple and orange hues, Jack and Arya stood on a balcony overlooking the nearly completed embassy. They discussed the future, not just of their two peoples, but of the potential for a broader interstellar community. The Zeltrans, with their advanced technology and nomadic knowledge, could be invaluable in exploring the unknown regions of the galaxy. However, the horizon was not without its clouds. Intelligence from both Eridani and Earth suggested other distant civilizations with less peaceful intentions, and the ever-present challenges of space travel and resource scarcity loomed large. But with each challenge, the Alliance had an opportunity to test its strength and adaptability, proving that unity could indeed be a formidable force. As they watched the stars begin to pepper the night sky, Arya spoke of the Eridani prophecies, ancient texts that hinted at a time when the galaxy would be threaded together by alliances formed not out of necessity, but out of genuine desire to understand and respect the myriad forms of life that it hosted. Jack listened, inspired by the idea that what they were doing might one day be seen as the dawn of this prophesied era. The narrative of their story, from Jack's unexpected selection by the High Priestess to the diplomatic ventures with the Zeltrans, was being documented. The Eridani historians and human journalists alike were keen to capture every moment, knowing that these were the first pages of a larger saga. In the concluding weeks of his stay on Eridani 4, Jack prepared to return to Earth, tasked with advocating for the new alliances and sharing the lessons learned in alien diplomacy and cultural exchange. A grand farewell ceremony was held in the central plaza of the Crystal City, attended by Eridani citizens, the human crew, and a small delegation of Zeltrans who had come to witness the fruits of the initial diplomacy. As the ceremony drew to a close, Jack addressed the gathering. He spoke of the bravery of venturing into the unknown, the wisdom in embracing difference, and the strength found in unity. His words, translated into multiple languages, resonated deeply with all present. With heartfelt goodbyes and promises to return, Jack boarded the Odyssey, which now carried not just a crew of explorers, but ambassadors of a hopeful future. As the ship pulled away from Eridani IV, Jack took one last look back at the planet that had changed him forever. The Odyssey's course was set for Earth, but the journey ahead was clear. It was one that would take humanity further into the stars than ever before, driven not by conquest, but by curiosity and a profound desire to connect. The galaxy's horizon called, and Jack knew that this was just the beginning.